just another gunfire scare in America. This happened at the White House Correspondents Dinner, one of the most high-profile dinners which is being held by the President of America, who hosts it year on year with about 2,600 attendees. This is one of Washington's most symbolic power events. Top editors, top journalists, top reporters, the entire media, the top brass in the political corridors, all of them were present, along with the President, the Vice President, the First Lady, all the cabinet secretaries. And yet, there seems to be what appears to be a massive security lapse. There are top journalist presence, public figures, celebrities. Everyone was under one roof at the time when there was an ongoing war in which US is one of the combatants. It is the annual meeting point of power and press, and that room of influence turned into a room of panic and chaos when 31-year-old Cole Allen Thomas barged into the screening area, breached security, and opened fire at least 8 times before being overpowered by the security. Let's suspect admitted to authorities that he was targeting officials in the Trump administration. Well, that's the big breaking news which is coming in. Well, Reuters reports have said that American media have said that it was an assassination bid on Donald Trump itself. That's the big scoop that we are getting for you. On target was none other than Donald Trump and his top leaders. Let me go across to Srinjoy as well as Mayank, who's joining us. Srinjoy, I'm going to come to you first. A first confirmation seems to be coming in from American media, where they are saying that on target was the Trump administration, perhaps the president himself. What we don't know so far is the motive as to why Cole Allen would decide to shoot at the president and his men, at least try to shoot at them.
See, the first impression, and the president himself has said this, that he is some deranged man. Now, if you look at his CV, he appears to be a teacher, and also importantly, he has had an education. He has a undergraduate degree, he has a postgraduate degree, so he's an educated man who was in California and has come all this way. Now, there are more questions than answers at this point. First of all, here's this correspondence dinner in a hotel in Washington. How does a man, how many teachers in California know when the president is going to a correspondence dinner at the time, the place, and everything else? 2, and he has prepared himself for it. There are reports, still not confirmed, that he was a resident at the hotel. So if he's a resident of the hotel, he's planned this out, that the preliminary screenings, the preliminary checkpoints would be avoided because he's at the hotel. Then, of course, the other odd thing is that after all this efforts, he is carrying a rifle, kind of a shotgun. Now, if you're going to attempt to target a president or any VIP, the shotgun is such a big thing. A revolver would probably mean, would be much more effective. It's easier to hide and various kinds of things. So that's again something. Now, of course, the motive. That's the one thing no one seems to understand. Why was this largely educated man who has a responsible job, lives very far away in California, come all the way to Washington and know about a particular function and try to do what he's done?
Absolutely. Why would he do that? What is the motive? We are still awaiting for that. This is an educated man, mind you, a postgraduate, a teacher. He's someone who had earlier, at least once, had even donated for the Democratic presidential bid. What really happened? What really snapped? We'll have to find out. Meanwhile, let's quickly tell you what was the sequence of event. It's important for all our viewers who are joining us now, who may want to know what the sequence of this entire shooting had happened. Remember, this event was being held, hosted by the president himself. It was being held at the Washington Hilton. It is a year-on-year tradition, and like every year, it was again held at the Hilton in Washington. The event kicked off. The dinner was scheduled for roughly 8 p.m. Then what happened next? You then had around 2,600 attendees who were present at this dinner. Donald Trump himself was there. He arrived there with the First Lady, Melania Trump. This was right after 8 p.m. Then the top officials, media, and of course the top celebrities were in attendance. We know even the wife of Charlie Kirk, for example, was one of the celebrities. There was a mentalist who was the host for the show. There are several others. Then suddenly around 8:30, 8:40 in the night is when gunshots were heard. There were reports which are saying that there were as many as 5 to 8 gunshots which started resounding. They could only hear it because it was not happening at the ballroom. The gunshots were fired in the screening room, which was outside the ballroom. And there are reports that there were about 5 to 8 rounds which were fired by this man, Cole. In fact, Cole Allen. The firing had happened near the magnometer security screening as well. So this gives you a sense of how it had happened, and that the assailant, Cole Allen, that we are talking about, he attempted a breach of secured zone. That was the area, the screening area, right before you enter the actual place where that event was being held, which was the ballroom inside the Washington Hilton. Then the attendees started ducking under the table. You can see some of those visuals, corresponding visuals. The Prime Minister, the President and the First Lady were whisked away by the Secret Service agents. In fact, they took cover behind the dais for a bit, and after that they were whisked away. The president as well as the First Lady. On the other hand, you had the vice president, the other cabinet secretaries, all of them taken away by the Secret Service. You had the president, you had the shooter then being overpowered. This is right outside in the ballroom. You got a picture there of the shooter being pushed to the ground. He's got his hands behind, tied up, and his shirt has been removed. And what we are picking up from sources is that there was at least one shotgun which was recovered from him, that there were multiple knives which were there on Cole Allen as well, which were recovered by the security agents. He had, remember, shot at someone, one of the Secret Service agents as well, and that agent, however, got injured. He was wearing a bulletproof vest where the bullet hit him, which is why he's not seriously injured. However, he is being treated. One officer was hit. There were no serious injuries which are being reported. This man, the alleged shooter, has now been taken to the hospital. It is being believed and being reported that he has injuries as well. Trump has confirmed that he is safe in a press conference which was held right after that. Melania Trump, J.D. Vance, all of them are safe. There were no civilian casualties which were reported. It seems to be strike and bullets which were fired only at the security forces who were standing guarding outside the ballroom, and the shooter did not actually enter the ballroom itself. Well, this is how the sequence panned out through the day. We are going to be stepping into a short break. On the other side, we'll get you more details of what happened at the moment.